The primary supplier for all those retailers with True Value was True Value. By taking their primary distributor away, they were all going to be left scrambling. So we believe the best thing that we could do for the retailer was to come in and buy the organization.
I've heard so many people throughout the last 2 or 3 markets that I've been at where True Value members have been here talk about how much they appreciate that somebody did think about them in the whole deal.
Yeah. To me, leadership is the most important thing that I'm doing. We have thousands of employees that I get to interact every day, and I try really hard to get to know them as best as I can and know about their lives and what's going on, and just kind of investing in them because it's a really important task for me.
Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Couch. This is the spot where leaders talk about the stories, strategies, and systems that win in the building industry. We unpack how leaders and brands build their reputations and become unmistakable. Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Couch, and I'm here today on the show floor at the Do It Best Spring Market with the president of Do It Best, Nick Talarico. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Hey, Stephanie.
We are on the last day of the show. We're getting ready to wrap up. It's been a really awesome weekend from my perspective here in the glass box. But what have you seen? Tell me what your experience has been this week.
Yeah, we're down to the last couple hours here, and it's been an awesome time. Our first time in Denver, at least at Do It Best. I know True Value's done it before, but it's our first time as a collective group here in Denver, and it's been outstanding. We've had a great turnout. Great positive reaction from all of our members. We had Dierks Bentley last night.
It was awesome.
Put on a great show. I've never been a huge country music fan.
Yeah.
I love music though, so I was able to really appreciate the musicianship. The guitar playing was awesome.
You know what I loved about it? It was at 6:00.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was out and had dinner and was still in bed by like 8:30 or 9. It was amazing. I was like, I wish every concert was like this.
I totally agree. What does that mean about us?
I'm an old lady for sure.
Yeah,
100%. I don't know what it says about you, Nick, but I will
I'm
take
an old
that.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, if I could do this at every concert, I'd go to concerts all the time. I can't do that 10 p.m. start with a 2-hour warm up.
Well, it was funny too, because at one point in the very beginning, he said, "Good evening."
Yeah.
And he said, good afternoon. Well, we're somewhere between the evening and afternoon.
Yeah.
Perfect time for the concert.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had a great turnout last night. The place was packed. Someone told me there was a mosh pit. I said, I don't think that's really a mosh pit. No punches were being thrown.
No.
So but that was great. But, to me, we talked a lot about innovation in this market and how we're using innovation to help our members at retail and dealers at retail. We launched Retail Pulse, which was it was something that we've been working on for several years.
Tell me a little bit about Retail Pulse. What is it? What's it going to do for members?
When we look at what we can bring to our membership, one of the unique things that we have is we have 9,000 locations now, and there are thousands of them that share their point of sale data with us. And we have our own wholesaler data, and we have data from our strategic vendor partners. So you take that whole universe of data, and it's like, okay, everyone has data, but now we have data that we can share with you from others in the right way. But how do you do that that's easy to use so that you're not sitting there just looking at reports? So what we did is we created a tool that basically takes the data and helps you visualize it. Super simple. So like green, yellow, red. Think of your floor plan, like a bird's eye view of your floor plan, green, yellow, red. The green stuff, hey, you're doing better than your peer set. The yellow stuff, hey, we should probably look into that. And red, we definitely need to dive in. Wow. And then there's actually solutions baked in that your territory sales manager would talk to you about on how to improve an area that's red or yellow. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but we're really excited about it because our whole point at Do It Best and True Value is to, serve the independent retailer and to help them be the best versions of themselves. And with this tool, that helps. Yeah,
growing up in an independent lumberyard and hardware store myself, it can get pretty lonely trying to find solutions to big problems that maybe you don't have time or money to solve by yourself. But I love this co-op model that you guys are doing the work on the front end. Say, hey, we'll do the research. We'll get all this amazing data that you could never have access to, and then give you a path forward that really helps you grow your store. And I also like the red, yellow, green. Yeah. Simple, easy to know what to do and what not to do and move forward.
Sometimes the best and most powerful tools are the simplest.
Yeah. there's a lot of data out there, and knowing how to use it and what to do with it, it's a big problem to solve.
Exactly.
So that's awesome.
And it's not a one-time launch. We have like a 3-year roadmap. So we're going to make constant iterations and improvements on this. It's going to be really exciting.
That's great. What else you got going on in this market?
That was definitely the big thing. So, now we have 6 months, so we're going to have to do it all over again.
I will say it is amazing to me that it's already been 6 months since the last market in Indy, and we're going back to Indy in September. Yep. You guys have a huge turnout at all your markets. That one's kind of home base area, and I love that show. It's amazing. So I like the outdoor show at that one, all the grills, the food. Yeah. Do It Best Market is a can't miss event. I want to talk a little bit about you and your background, because you have a really great story. I don't know how many people know your story, but you are now running an amazing organization, almost $6 billion in annual sales, thousands of members in stores all across, really not just the US, other places as well. And your story doesn't start like a lot of people's maybe that have run companies. You actually started as an internal auditor or a CPA, and you came up through the finance side of Do It Best. But then you made a jump into sales leadership, which obviously went into now you being the president of Do It Best. So I want to talk a little bit about your story and maybe help inspire some others. I know I'm inspired by your story of how you got here and some of the things that you went through. So tell me a little bit about when you're walking the floor, thinking about where you are and where you've come from. Is it kind of surreal? How do you feel being in this position now, the True Value acquisition? Y'all have done so much in the past few years. A lot going on. How's it feel walking the floor?
First of all, I'm humbled. I mean, I get to work with and for amazing people.
I agree with that. It's a great company.
If you think of the independent hardware, home improvement, lumberyard space, we deal with salt of the earth folks. Mm-hmm. And there's a great relationship that's built with so many people walking this floor. Mm-hmm. And I just love seeing them. I love seeing their children, hearing about, Brian Mundy yesterday from Hackman Lumber tells me his son just got engaged yesterday here. It's like, and I saw him again today.
At the market, he got engaged?
Well, they were on a hike, I think.
That's so cool.
Although we have had members that were married at a market, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah. Jay and Karen Johnson.
That's the coolest thing ever.
Married at a market.
All right. If you're listening to this and you're interested in having your wedding, we have dates open in September for a Do It Best wedding. We will allow you to come into the podcast booth and get married right here, right on the floor. Nick, will you officiate?
I don't think I am allowed to.
You can get it online. No,
maybe
we can have that in 24 hours or less, Nick. We can make that happen for you. That's really cool.
I get to deal with amazing people. Mm-hmm. There's no other industry like this. So first of all, I'm humbled. It's just such a fantastic organization. No, my career path is not normal. It's not typical. If I go back to that kid back in 2009 and say, this is what your career path is going to look like, there's no way I would believe it. Mm-hmm. It's just, you don't hear about this very often. So I've just been so fortunate that people have believed in me and given me the opportunity.
I want to talk about that. You told me a story about someone early in your career that not only believed in you, but pushed you to be a version of yourself that he kind of felt like you could be, I guess. Tell me a little bit about that. You said no a few times to some of his asks, and it all culminated at a football game. So tell me about that story.
Well, it's one of my favorite stories because it changed my life. But you gotta maybe go back a little bit more in time to know that my first job out of school was, I didn't enjoy my job. I didn't enjoy the company, and I was newly married and kind of went through this multi-year deal where I was just not enjoying what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So I changed career paths, and that's when I went into public accounting actually first. And Do It Best was a client of mine. So I had 3 years of working with Do It Best. I got to peek behind the curtain, see what the culture was like, and what these people were like was so unique and so different. And yeah, it's a big company, but that wasn't the draw to me. The draw to me was the people. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first day I started, I remember vividly walking to my office from orientation thinking I'm going to retire here.
Wow.
It was just that kind of a moment. But it was a big change going out of public accounting into Do It Best. And I was in internal audit. I had the ability to report to a gentleman who was our COO at the time for about 9 months or so. And this guy was really intelligent. Like, I really looked up to him. I've had the benefit to work with just great men, and he was one of them. And yeah, he'd announced his retirement. I was kind of crushed because I enjoyed working with him so much. I had so much to learn from him. And at one of our one-on-one meetings at the end of it, I always left a spot in our agenda for is there anything you want to talk about? And the answer was always no. For 9 months, it was no. And then one day he said, yeah, I have a question. Have you ever thought about getting your MBA? And I said, actually, no. I have my CPA. I just don't know if there's a whole lot of value in that. And he just let it go. In fact, it was such a throwaway kind of moment that I didn't even talk to my wife about it, which is rare for me. Fast forward 2 weeks, same exact meeting, get down to the end of it. I said, anything you want to talk about? And he said, well, yeah, have you ever thought about getting your MBA? And I remember thinking, well, no wonder why you're retiring. We just had this conversation 2 weeks ago and you don't even remember having it with me. I said, you know what? Maybe let me give it some thought. So maybe a couple weeks go by and he called me and he said, hey, I have 2 extra tickets to Notre Dame Navy. Would you and your wife want to go to the game? And I grew up in Catholic education. I grew up, watching the Irish and Lou Holtz, who just unfortunately passed away a couple days ago. Great coach, great man. And so I jumped at the opportunity. We drove up there. We met him and his wife walking around the campus. And if you've ever gone to Notre Dame, there's the Golden Dome. And before the football game starts, the band marches and they play the Notre Dame Victory March. And so anyway, we're out there getting ready to watch the band play. I'm going to elaborate on this story a little bit, but in my mind, this is exactly how it played out. So we're standing there. It's an overcast fall day. Band's marching in, the sky parts, the sun's shining down on the dome, angels are singing. And Dave looks right at me and says, how about that MBA? And I said, well, if I was going to do it, there's only one place I want to go. And he said, where's that? And I said, right here. He said, do it. And just telling you that story, I can feel my heart beat fast because it was just such a surreal moment. I know Notre Dame won that game, but I don't know if I watched a play because the whole time I was thinking about that. And the whole game. And then my wife and I got in the car and we drove home. I'm like, you're not gonna believe what just happened. As you were watching the game, I was thinking about this. And wouldn't that be just an amazing experience? It was about a 2-hour drive home. And I'll never forget, I was so excited. And I pulled into our driveway. And as soon as I hit the driveway, I remember saying to her, who am I kidding? There's no way I can get in there. And so I was like super high to the reality hit.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I still think he pulled some strings for me, but somehow I got into that program. So that's kind of the story of someone who believed, in me and saw something in me that frankly, I didn't even see it in myself.
Yeah. You get in.
Yeah.
You go to Notre Dame for your MBA. What happens next? First week happens.
Oh my gosh. Well, so, there's an interview process and I had to apply and all that stuff and get through that. And in the meantime, this gentleman does retire. And then Dan Starr actually picked up the ball and helped me out the rest of the way. So yeah, but I get to campus, drive down Notre Dame Avenue, pull in. We were staying at the Morrison, which is a hotel right there on campus. And I remember actually it wasn't smart, wasn't safe, but I actually remember videoing on the way in because it was such a surreal moment. And my very first day there, I sat in the parking lot of the Morris Inn. I got there early because I always get to places early. And I sat there for 30 minutes trying to convince myself that I needed to do this because I just felt like a phony.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to myself in the car out loud, saying, you get one shot at this, you need to make the most of it. And I was just so blessed to my first year team, 6 horsemen is what we called ourselves. You remember the 4 horsemen of Notre Dame, and we were the 6 horsemen. We just had such a great team, and all of us were just all about just totally getting immersed in the program, getting every aspect of it, from the schooling to the athletics to just the team building. It was just such an amazing experience.
You were really determined to make the best of this opportunity because I know you told me that you didn't think you deserved it or that you wouldn't be able to get to it. So how did you capitalize on that and how has it changed your career since going through that opportunity?
Well, one of the things I had to learn about myself is how to study. That was actually a habit that I formed in high school, was doing just enough to get my parents off my back. And when I actually sat for the CPA exam is actually how I learned how to study for real. So, going into the MBA program at Notre Dame was just great because I was able to go in and continue that. But, it's kind of funny. The best thing that I learned at Notre Dame, great university, great academics, had nothing to do with strategy or supply chain or accounting or any of those. It was really belief in myself. That's what I learned because that program, I was with CEOs, I was with COOs, I was with MDs, and I was just this internal audit guy. And to be able to be shoulder to shoulder with people that were really successful and to be able to hang a bit was just a great experience.
Yeah. Leveling up when you're around people that challenge you to be better than you ever thought you could be. It's something special that happens when you're around other people that are high performers.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about a story you told me that you actually, I think, maybe read this story, and I absolutely love this. You share this with your sales team. Tell me about the winner's game and the loser's game. What is that all about?
So I didn't read about this. I actually heard it in a podcast,
Okay.
a podcast that I really enjoy listening to. And they talked about the winner's game and the loser's game. And when they were talking about it, I thought, man, that just makes so much sense in the world. So the winner's game and the loser's game, they talk about the sport of tennis, how it was described as tennis is a winner's game and a loser's game. Now, I played tennis for a year in high school, so I was kind of interested in where this was going. But basically, the premise is when you're an amateur in tennis is a loser's game. All your biggest job as an amateur is just get the ball over the net. If you can get it in the box and over the net, let your opponent make the unforced error. But when you get to the higher levels of tennis, it's not a loser's game, it's a winner's game. You have to make magnificent shots in order to win. And the key is knowing when you're getting to the winner's game, because if you're playing a really good opponent and you're playing a strategy of the loser's game, you're going to get smoked because they're going to make magnificent shots.
Yeah.
So I did tell my sales team that a couple markets ago in our national sales meeting, because I was thinking about the changes that were happening in our industry. We had just acquired True Value, and I wanted to put a perspective out there. We went through a time where everyone was going after True Value. We could play a bit of the loser's game, just showing up, being there, doing the basic stuff. We could gain some traction, and we did. But now they're out of the ring, and there's only a couple opponents left. So how do we switch our perspective to the winner's game? And the funny thing too is I've used this with my children. My 16-year-old Pierce, he's had a job for a couple years now. He started when he was 14. He works at a local Mexican like quick service, like Chipotle kind of restaurant. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you just play the loser's game. Like you show up and you smile, be there on time, keep your phone in your pocket, smile, greet customers. Like you're going to be so far above everybody else your age. And my oldest Harrison just got a job too. And I told him the same thing. It's like he's working, doing valet parking at a hotel in Indy actually. And I'm like, what's your job? And he's like, I'm going to be a valet driver. I'm like, no. You're the first person that a customer sees when they get out of their car at the JW Marriott. You're the first customer experience interaction. That's your job. You're the first person they see and the last person they see. So what are you going to do to make sure that's the difference? Like just show up and smile.
Yeah.
Be engaged, listen to people. Like those are the things that I think really, as you're raising boys, I have 3 boys. Like those are the things that I think can be really powerful, simple learning lessons that can be powerful in their life.
So how do you know when it's time to switch from one game to the next?
Yeah, that's the secret, right? The secret is knowing when doing just enough isn't enough anymore. And that's, there's probably a bit of art in that and just going with your gut.
Customer experience, you mentioned that talking about your sons, but also I know it's important to do it best and in True Value, but it's also important to your members that are out here. What do you see people do that's just that little bit of extra experience that makes things unreasonably great for them and they can't help but return? What do you see some of these members doing that just wows you?
All of our members, I think, can do a great job, and they really have a knack for serving their community, and doing customer service things is an easy way for them to do that. personalized service. I had a plumbing issue at my house one time, a dripping shower head, and I had an associate at a local Do It Best store spend 20 minutes with me on just a little cartridge, replacement cartridge that I needed to put in the shower head. And I thought, wow, they made no money on that is what I was thinking. They spent so much more. And I actually bought other things when I was leaving because I was like, that was amazing service. I don't think it's like super crazy above and beyond things. And I'll give one outside of our industry. I travel a lot, as you can imagine. And I was at a hotel a few weeks ago, about a month ago. And my wife was telling me this story. She was having brunch. I was in a meeting. She was having breakfast or something. And it was outdoors and there was a lot of wind that day. And she was talking to another lady and the other lady said, oh man, I wish I brought a hair tie down from the room. And the waiter overheard this and went and got hair ties and came back and gave her a hair tie. I'm like, all you have to do is listen. That person, like, what amazing customer service. And do you think that lady is going to go back? Absolutely. And then he took it a step further because he went to all the ladies outside at every table offering hair ties.
Yeah.
It's a cool story.
That is cool. And like you said, it's really is the little things that add up. It's those tiny little micro moments in a store or with another person that build relationships and build trust. People buy trust. That's what they buy. That's why you keep coming back. And I think that's the most important thing in our industry. Technology is going to change. AI is going to change. Even maybe the generations of people working in the stores will change, but what will not change is what people buy, which is trust and relationships.
Yeah, people want to know that they're noticed.
Absolutely.
And you can do little things to make sure that they know that that they exist.
This episode of the Grit Blueprint podcast was sponsored by Do It Best Group. Do It Best Group is the largest co-op in the world, and they help independent hardware and lumber yards all over North America win. Do It Best offers services, products, and people that can help you win long term. They are the champion of independence. I want to go back to the switch from the auditor role to sales.
Yeah.
Because to me...
Oh, you've heard the story 1,000 times.
Actually...
Every auditor has done this.
That's the weirdest story I've ever heard.
Yeah, I know.
Because auditors and salespeople usually are a little bit maybe of arch nemesis, don't get along type personality-wise. But you have done both and done both well. So how the heck did that happen? What does that look like? And what was that journey like for you?
Do you remember, I can't remember his name, but the guy that played Al Bundy, he's now on Modern Family. He was on Modern Family. For the longest time, no one would hire him, I believe, because he was like typecast in the Al Bundy role from Married with Children was the show. That's how I feel about the auditor role. It's like I was typecast in that. I've actually been in sales longer than I was in finance now. But yeah, it's not a common career path, right? The story is really as simple as I had someone that saw something in me, and this time it was Dan Starr, our CEO, that, like I said before, I didn't see in myself, and I had raised my hand. I don't know why. I was really naive. I guess I would say I was very naive. Looking back now, almost 10 years ago, actually. And, but I've learned so much from it. And I fell in love with sales. Like, I love our sales team. I love what they do. I love how they are positioned to service our members. And what I didn't know at the time, I thought he was just being funny in the interviews. Like, how would you handle significant change in the sales organization? I thought it was hypothetical. I didn't realize that he wanted me to get in there. He wanted me to evaluate it and then have an outsider input on what really needed to happen. And that was the value that I brought to the sales org. Was I didn't have preconceived notions of where value lies and how we service our members. I was able to take a fresh look at it. And that's what we did. It happened way faster than I thought, though. I remember telling them, like, hey, it's going to take me probably a year to evaluate our current situation. And then we'll make some change. I don't want to go change too fast. And I remember like 30 days in here and something, I'm like, we got to change that right away. So yeah, that's what it was.
I think it's funny because the way you just positioned that, he basically wanted you to audit the sales department, which is perfect for you because you were an auditor. So it was really actually a cool perspective to have something different, because I know as a salesperson, historically, we do have pathways that we automatically go down out of habitual things that we do.
Yeah.
So I like that other perspective. I'm sure.
And it's the you're absolutely right. And it was like the strategy and the design. Like, I'm not going to be the best salesperson. That's not where my value is going to come from, especially in the beginning. But having that fresh look and that outsider viewpoint and being able to think strategically on where are we positioned relative to our competition, what are the needs of our customers, that's where I really was able to add some value. And frankly, I've always had this is a bit personal about how I see the world, but I've had numerous people in my life that have had faith in me, and I'm not going to let them down.
Yeah. You don't want to fail as a person who's got people looking at you saying, I gave you a shot. It's hard to think about even letting them down. I feel that way a lot. Like, hey, you gave me my shot. I'm going to go out there and do what I can to make sure I don't let you down.
I don't need external pressure.
Yeah.
On letting people down. I have enough internal pressure.
Yeah, I resonate with that just a wee bit. So the last 2 years has been like a roller coaster wild ride for Do It Best. In 2024, you guys acquired True Value. Before that, United Hardware you had acquired. And True Value obviously was in the news a lot. There was a lot that went around. How was that going through that transition? And what has the last 2 years been like for you?
It was a generational opportunity for our organization. True Value has been around as long as we have, for 80 years. And a big difference between Do It Best and True Value is, of course, brand recognition, because they had a national brand for a very long time that they invested a lot of money in. The reason why we did it, though, was the belief in the independent retailer. We didn't have to do this, right? I mean, they were going through a bankruptcy, and we could have just sat there and watched it and picked up the pieces. But what that was going to do, in our opinion, was going to put the primary supplier for all those retailers with True Value was True Value. That was a primary distributor. And by taking their primary distributor away, they were all going to be left scrambling.
Yeah.
So we believe the best thing that we could do for the retailer was to come in and buy the organization. And I'm really glad that we did. It has been a challenge because, as you can imagine, acquiring $1 billion+ organization is a challenge. Acquiring $1 billion+ organization that's just gone through a bankruptcy, that's a whole nother thing. So we're working through it. We knew it wasn't going to be an overnight turnaround. But I've been really proud of the team and really proud of how our members at Do It Best have supported this, and the retailers at True Value have also supported it.
Yeah, I've heard so many people throughout the last 2 or 3 markets that I've been at where True Value members have been here talk about how much they appreciate that somebody did think about them in the whole deal.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of times that one store owner that is totally dependent on that, they don't get thought of in the ivory tower decisions sometimes, or in the bankruptcy court decisions. And so I think it's really cool. And I know that a lot of people are super happy about it. So it's been fun to watch, and I'm excited to continue to watch where it goes. Well, I wanted to ask you one last question, and then we're going to go to the lightning round.
Oh, okay. All right.
You actually said something that I thought about a lot since you told me this. Really from my perspective of like, what does being a person that's leading people mean? What's the executive of the future look like? And you said that you believe the executive of the future will be of sound mind, body, and spirit. So it's not just about business. It's about more than that. And that people do not want to follow someone who's out of balance. What does that mean to you? And why do you say that?
Well, first of all, one thing that I always struggle with is I don't feel like I'm a very creative person, so I can't take credit for the quote. The quote actually comes from a gentleman, a professor I had named Leo Burke, and it was that very first week, and he said, the executive of the future will be of sound mind, body, and spirit. And, 14 years later, or whatever it's been, that's just really resonated with me. And I try hard personally to do that, but what he was essentially signaling is the next generation that comes into the workforce, they're going to want a balanced leader. They're not going to want to follow somebody that's only about one thing.
Yeah.
And in business, that's typically about business. So it's like, what are you doing in those three components of your life? How are you going to be of sound mind, be a intelligent person, body? Are you going to be healthy in spirit?
Yeah.
And he left it pretty loose for us to kind of fill in the blanks there. But to me, it just really hit home. And it's something that I've really tried to work on myself.
Yeah. I see that in you. And I think it's cool to watch how other people embrace that, because it isn't just about business. You talk about your family, your wife, your sons, all those things. So I really like that you share that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, leadership is the most important thing that I'm doing. We have thousands of employees around the country that I get to interact every day, and I try really hard to get to know them as best as I can and know about their lives and what's going on, and just kind of investing in them, because it's a really important task for me.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what the next year brings, because I know Do It Best Group has got a lot in store, and I'm excited to see where it goes and be a part of it too.
Same here.
Well,
Lightning round. All right.
Are you fired up?
I'm ready.
Okay. First question. What is the best book or podcast that you have listened or read that has changed the way you think?
Okay, I'm going to go podcast route.
Okay.
So there's a podcast called Modern Wisdom by Chris Williamson that's very
love that
good.
Podcast.
Very good. He's out of Austin.
Yes.
But I think he's from the UK. And he has different topics with different guests all the time. I think he does like 3 a week.
Yeah.
And they're completely like, it could be an hour, it could be 2.5 hours. There's like Malcolm Gladwell on there. Just, to me, it's just super interesting. The way that he does his podcast, he's super engaging.
Yeah.
Great listener. And he makes it really relevant. I've actually listened to a couple of those. That's where I got the winners and losers game from, actually. I sent them to my sons.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you guys should listen to this.
So
that's one. And I'm going to do another one.
Okay.
So that to me is like, that kind of hits the mind and body kind of part of that. Or I'm sorry, the mind and spirit part of that. But there is one that I listen to for body. So there's one called RP Strength podcast, which is done by Nick Shaw and Dr. Mike Israetel. I think these guys are like bodybuilder kind of guys, but just fascinating content and how they think about nutrition and working out. And it actually changed how I view health, because for the longest time I was really into running. I hate running, but to me it was like, that's the best way to burn a lot of calories. But I trained for a marathon a few years ago, and in my mind, as I was going through training, I was like, I'm going to be running a lot of miles a week. I'm going to eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because if I'm running on a random Saturday 14, 15, 16, 18 miles in this training program, I'm going to have 5 guys. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And the weirdest thing is, I would have thought I was going to lose like 20, 30 pounds in that. And I lost like 2 pounds net.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because, you can't outwork your diet.
Yeah.
Is what I learned the hard way there. So then I started listening to these guys, and they were talking about the importance of strength training. So I actually haven't run but maybe 6 times in the last 2 years. And really all I do is strength train anymore. And I feel fantastic. I don't have random lower back pains. When you start thinking about concerts at 6 o'clock at night, you also have to worry about throwing out your back when you sneeze.
Yeah.
Sneezing can be very violent.
It can.
But
scary thing when you start sneezing.
Yeah. Strength training and stuff's helped me, and I haven't had back pain in 2 years. So
that's great. I think you and Ben would get along. So we both listen to Modern Wisdom, and he loves Mike Israetel. So
do you really?
Yeah. So yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to do that, but
you can break.
There is a guy sitting right there named Ben.
He's here. We only show his hands on this podcast.
But you know what I'm talking about? RP Strength is a great podcast.
Yeah. He loves it.
And Dr. Mike has these random analogies and anecdotes that are crazy. You're going to want to make sure your kids are of a certain age to listen, but
yeah, not it's PG-13 plus.
Oh yeah, it's definitely more than.
Okay, well those are 2 good ones. So I love that. All right.
That wasn't very lightning round-ish. Sorry.
Lightning can be longer. You never know. It was in the distance. It was a good answer though. All right. What's the best advice you've ever received?
This has been recently.
Okay.
Actually, a member of ours pulled me aside last July and said, "Be yourself. You just keep being you." And I try really hard to be me.
Yeah.
Just be authentic. I want to be the same person at home to my wife and kids as I am to you, as I am to the team out on the market floor right now.
Yeah. It's so important because it is sometimes easy to think like, well, if I was just a little more this or that, but you're you for a reason and you're the only you.
Yeah.
And people are either going to love it or hate it, but
be true. Be true to you. Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right. Next one is, what is something that people might be surprised to know about you?
A friend of mine that really inspired me years ago, he's a doctor. He actually delivered our children, Todd Rumsey. And every time I was around Todd, I was like, this guy's like a Renaissance man. He's building cabinets. He plays cello. He's like, does all these things outside of being a doctor. And so he's inspired me. And so those kinds of things, I get a lot out of trying stuff new that I don't think I can do because I've surprised myself. So during COVID, I got really into woodworking. I play guitar.
What kind of guitar do you have?
Like brands or?
Like, I'm a music nerd. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, I love Taylor guitars.
That's my favorite too. I was hoping that's what you're going to say.
I actually went to their factory in California,
cool.
10 years, or it was 10 years ago, almost, 10 years and 2 months ago, and got to visit their factory. It was an incredible experience. Cool. But yeah, I have acoustics. I like acoustics. I like electric. I like bass. Yeah. I just like music.
Yeah, me too. There's something cool about people who are musical. You said you're not creative, but that's a lie because music is creative.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I don't write my own stuff.
Creative
I don't write
guy.
my own stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, next podcast, are we going to sing?
I'm also hard on myself.
Are we going to do a little duet next time?
Yeah. Not if this music's playing this loud above us.
Well, I can probably remedy that.
All right.
Is that all it's going to take to do the duet?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Are you thinking like Lady Gaga, like Shallow, like that kind of a duet?
I'm off the deep end.
Wow. Bravo.
This is your part.
I'm just going to sit here and clap. You nailed that.
Thank you.
With music blaring in the background, that's not that song. That was impressive.
All right. Last question. Grit is blank.
I'm still thinking about what just happened. Grit is absolutely necessary. Like the ability to keep moving on. So I grew up on watching the movie Rocky, Rockies. That's what Sylvester's still on. I'd love to get a chance to meet him sometime. But there's a line he has in there. I'm probably going to butcher it. But life isn't about getting hit. It's about getting hit and keep moving forward. And to me, that's what's grit's all about. And, a lot of people don't see that probably. Maybe in me or even you've had a successful career, but how many times have you taken a punch right to the nose? Yeah. And, you just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I feel like that's every day with entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. There's so much stuff I don't know. And I'm like, man, why am I so bad at everything? Well, it's hard when you're, when you want to do well and you don't want to fail, but you have to get to where you want to go.
But you're not average. The average person is going to get hit and they're going to want to quit. And that's why grit's so critical. Is just to keep moving forward. I
love that. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And I will see you in Indy with your warm-up already done so we can do this duet together.
All right, I'll bring a guitar with me.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it a cappella.
Shake on that. Deal.
Let's do it.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Grit Blueprint. And if you are interested in learning about Do It Best and True Value and growing your business, you can contact us and we will see you on the next episode.
I think she's serious.
Oh, I don't make deals. I don't intend to keep my friends. Thank you for listening to the Grit Blueprint podcast. If this episode helped you think a little differently about how to show up, share it with someone in your building world who needs it. If you're ready to turn visibility into growth, then head to gritblueprint.com to learn more and book a call to talk to us about your growth strategy. Until next time, stay unmistakable.